Coda.
How old are you? How old are you? You're 5 years old? My name is Robin. I'm Coda's mom. He's 5 years old. We adopted him from foster care when he was a baby. We brought him home from the hospital. He is autistic and extremely energetic and keeps us on our toes all day, every day. At the time they called us to foster Coda, we actually were not taking any foster babies at that time, but they called because they didn't have any other foster families, and they had several babies that had come into care that week. But they kept calling, which is very unusual. Usually when they call us for a foster child and we say no, we can't do it at that time, that's usually it, and they don't call us again. This time was different. They kept calling, and so I knew that that was something that I needed to pay attention to because they were being very persistent. I took notice, and I knew that we were supposed to take one of those babies. Just wasn't quite sure which one, but we prayed about it and felt like God was leading us to bring Coda into our lives at that point. When they called us about Coda, they did let us know that he had been injured while his mother was still pregnant with him with a stab wound, and that he had been cut pretty severely in his leg, but they had done surgery to repair the tendons and ligaments. And so we weren't really sure at that point if he was going to be disabled physically. He was without a lot of oxygen and blood when he was born, so we didn't know if he would be mentally disabled. We didn't know.
You know, when Coda came here, he was just a tiny premature child, and I didn't even want to touch him because he was so small. In fact, he had a cast on his leg, and the cast was so big that it almost would just like pull him off the couch. It was bigger than him, and so I was afraid to even touch him. But as he got a little weight on him and we fed him, he got bigger and stronger, and seemed like the cast wasn't an issue anymore.
At about 18 months old, I noticed Coda doing some things that were just different. He had started babbling and walking and running and doing all the things that a child his age should do. The first thing I noticed that was different was him stacking blocks. He would stack blocks incessantly, over and over and over. He would stack these wooden blocks as tall as he could get them, and then they would fall down, and he would stack and stack and stack, and he would do this for hours and hours and hours if I would let him. It just seemed to be something that he couldn't stop. So that worried me a little bit, and so I did ask his pediatrician about it, and they referred me to a developmental pediatrician where we had him tested for autism, and that's when our autistic road began. This is Coda. Okay. Oh.
You?
What's happening?
You?
Yeah, really. The clinician, she tested him on whether he played with toys in an imaginary way or if he played with them in like logistic ways, like he lined things up. If he had a bunch of cars, did he play with them like a pretend driving them around, or did he line them up or sort them by color? And he always sorted them by color or lined them up in straight lines. He never really played with them like a car Then they tested him on his speech, and Coda is nonverbal, although he's learning new words every day, and we can understand a lot of what he says. He, at that point, was not speaking and didn't really develop any speech until the age of 5.
It's a challenge because, you know, I wasn't at the age of 40 something going on 50 planning to have a newborn child. It was fine to have them in the household as a foster child, but it wasn't necessarily in the plan to have one full time. But as we saw that Coda was, you know, a good fit for our family and we all loved him, we figured, hey, why not just make him a permanent part of our family? And so we did. We went about those things. I must give all the credit to my wife who made all that happen. And Coda has been with us, growing every day, changing. We don't know what his capabilities are going to be, but super smart, super fun, really loving child. I think everybody that meets him likes him because he's just got a great personality.
Coda now receives ABA therapy every day, which is Applied Behavior Analysis Behavior Therapy, and they work on his behavior and how he reacts to different situations, especially transitions from one activity to another activity, especially a preferred activity to a non-preferred activity, and helping him transition better and not have meltdowns when he hasn't completed a task that he wants to complete. And that's what they're helping him with, and he's come a long way. I believe Coda is going to be successful in whatever he wants to be successful in. I think with the behavioral therapy that he's receiving, that he's learning how to cope with life and learning how to read other people's emotions and being able to learn about how to keep himself safe and do the right thing. And I believe ultimately, my prayer and my hope for him is that he will ultimately be able to live on his own one day and have a job and be happy and successful and not have to live under our care. If he does, that's fine. We love him. But that's our ultimate goal, is for him to be self-sufficient and be independent in this world.
He went from basically not talking at all to talking 95% of the time. There are obviously some times where he doesn't know how to say something or what he wants, but a majority of the time he says what he needs. I hope that he just continues on the track that he's on right now, which is just progression of building his vocabulary and learning how to cope with situations that he's not normally used to, and being in large crowds and hearing loud noises and knowing how to react to them so that he can be in regular classes when he's in school and be around kids that aren't like him and being able to interact with them without an adult always with him.
It's hard not seeing him every day, going from seeing him every day to not seeing him every day, because every day he grows. Every day he learns something new, and when he learns something new, he adds it to his behavior. He adds it to what he does every day. He's a good kid. That's why we're doing so much to prepare him for the world, just because it's not as accepting as we are, or his therapist, or his friends. So just preparing him for what's to come, in the hopes that though the world might not accept him, he will be happy with who he is.
My favorite things about Coda is that he lightens the mood in any situation, and I like how Coda, how he's so full of energy that he doesn't ever crash.
We're very thankful to have him with us, and we think he's a great addition to the family.
I love his laugh. It's very contagious. His belly laugh, which he never fake laughs. You know, when he's laughing, he's always genuine. And he's just real. Everything that he does, he knows why he's doing it. So if he tells you he loves you, you know he means it.
Coda's the best.